I have a massive fascination with Jews because they're arguably the most discriminated against race in the past millennia, and yet they run everything and are incredibly successful. I don't believe this is a coincidence. I believe that Jews have been either forced to adapt or have been naturally selected for traits that allow them to survive and even thrive under conditions of discrimination, one of which is their affinity to small business. For my incredibly racist observations, the things that Jews are known for are small business, law, medicine, and accounting. These are all high-paying salaries, but I would also like to point out something interesting. Jews aren't known for engineering, even though it is also a high-paying job. Why not? I would like to point out that engineering does not lend itself to small business. Whereas having a background in law or medicine, they lend themselves very easily to opening up your own law or accounting firm or clinic. It's not so easy as an engineer. An engineer can take on maybe 2 or 3 jobs simultaneously over the course of a couple months, catering to corporations, whereas lawyers, doctors, and accountants cater directly to the end customer and can take on several clients in a single day. I believe there are several reasons why small business serves as an anti-discrimination measure and how it served the Jews so well. Firstly, and most importantly, when you work as a business, people do not see you as a person. When people hire employees, the employee goes on a payroll and is attached to that company. Basically, when people hire employees, they look for credentials, race, sex, age, if you went to college, what's your GPA. Whereas as a business, you are judged by what you can do, how much you're willing to do it for, and how long it take. I mean, there may be a small amount of other inconsequential things that work their way into negotiations, but generally it's an order of magnitude less when you're working as a business. Also, since you're not on the payroll, affirmative action measures do not apply to you. When a company attempts to hire a certain number of black people or women, etc., and they have a quota, then these aspects come to mind when they're hiring employees. But when they hire a contractor or use a service or outsource their work, they don't see you as a person. So these characteristics do not apply to you. And also, you are not added to the list of whatever quotas they have. It's basically the same as the first point, but this one applies more towards, I guess you can call it systematic discrimination. I don't want to get too buzzwordy, but that would be the best way to describe it. Now, it is true that there are measures that can still be placed against you. For example, a company can have a policy of only subcontracting to companies who hire at least, say, 30% women. But these have an order of magnitude less effect than if they are applied to employees, because generally speaking, they're not usually applied to contractors and other businesses. And furthermore, the enforceability of these policies is proportional to your size. For example, if you're a company of one person, even though 100% of your employees are men, that does not necessarily mean discrimination. Whereas if you have a company of 1,000 people and they're all men, then that raises some red flags for other people. Furthermore, as a bonus, you don't have to deal with any of the PR bullshit, the sensitivity training sessions, or all that crap, which is an added benefit. Thirdly, it gives you a degree of freedom and control over your own life. Typically, small businesses are seen as higher risk than working as an employee. But I would argue that this only applies to regular people. If you're being discriminated against or have controversial views or get doxxed, as an employee, you may get fired for some PR shitstorm. But as a contractor or small business, you might get dropped by some of your clients. Some of your clients probably won't even bother researching, but you always have other clients. In numerical terms, it's better to have a 50% chance of losing 50% of your clients than a 25% chance of losing 100% of your income. That's, I guess, basic risk aversion. Also, you get to control what you spend on. If your company decides to hire token minorities, they're going to be less productive, but they will still be paid an equal quote-unquote wage, which necessarily means that you'll be left doing more work and being paid less. As the business owner, you can choose not to do that. If your company decides to buy health insurance for everyone, you are not necessarily left subsidizing the women and less healthy people. But as a business owner, you can buy your own health insurance. If your company offers paid maternity leave, you are necessarily going to be subsidizing the women who take advantage of this. But as a small business, this doesn't apply. Assuming, of course, you're not hiring women and giving them paid maternity leave. These are the reasons why I believe that if you feel discriminated against, you should go into small business. Thoughts, I guess. This is my first video, and I'm looking for feedback. Also, if you're wondering why I'm mumbling, it's because I'm wearing braces, and I didn't realize that I sound like this until after I started recording. Maybe I should do the text-to-speech thing, or just do a block.